All right, right at 12 o'clock. Let's do it.
Some water.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for everybody who's attending right now as well. We are day number 6, almost to the end of our entertainment lockdown series. So this past week, we've kind of just talked to a slew of different individuals, artist managers, booking agents, publicists, you name it, and just trying to get a bird's eye view of what's going on, not only around the country, but around the world. Had a guy from Amsterdam who's in marketing that kind of gave us a cool perspective of what's going on over there. But today, I kind of want to hone in on the hospitality industry. I came up with this because a lot of my clients and a lot of artists that I know are not only gigging musicians, but they're servers or they're bartenders, or they, kind of have their other job pulled out from under them as well because of these closures. So I kind of wanted to talk about what solutions, what support there are available for people that are in the hospitality industry. And now with this new bill, which I'm sure we'll bring up, it's actually supporting musicians as a whole as well. So we can kind of dive into that. But let me introduce my guests real fast, to kind of tell you who we're talking to today. So first off, I've got Paul. He is not only a part of a DJ duo here in Chicago called Cafe Disco, really dope, check him out. But he also owns and manages several restaurants in Chicago area, and is the owner of Promo 7, which puts on events and parties all over Chicago. Well, they did very well before all of this. So thanks, Paul. Appreciate you being here.
Of course, anytime.
And I've got David here. David is a Chicago-based lawyer who managed a boutique law practice focused specifically on artists and businesses in the entertainment industry. He also has taught at DePaul and Columbia College Chicago. So thanks for giving us some law advice today, David.
Yeah, hi, Evan. Thanks for having me. And hi, Paul. I don't know if I said hi to you earlier. So thanks. Excited to do this.
For sure. We've got David's already at a concert that's being closed down as we see. So that's great. Perfect. And for those of you popping in that don't know me, my name is Evan Price. I go by AC Evan. I'm the founder here at Artist Collective. I'm a music business mentor, a manager as well. And today I'll just be your host for this panel. So every day this week, I've kind of been starting with these kind of 3 questions just to give for each panelist, just to give the listeners a bird's eye view, like what you're dealing with on a day-to-day, how it's impacted you right now, and kind of, where you're located as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Paulie.
Located like physically, like where I'm at right now?
Yeah.
I am in my condo downtown in River North. My day-to-day, is pretty crazy right now. It was a vacation the first week, I would say. I know it sounds stupid, but, to get away from the partying and drinking is a great, opportunity anytime anyone can do it. But then, day 8 kicks in and it's like, okay, what are we doing now? When is this, when is the light gonna, when is the light at the end of the tunnel gonna start showing? And then, waiting on the government to pass whatever they're gonna pass. I'm sure Dave will speak on that. Which, they passed something, but everybody's excited, but we don't know what it is yet. Anytime you go to apply for anything, you really don't know, everyone's asking me for, solutions, and I don't have them. And even my lawyers don't have them. So it's kind of tricky this past week. So.
Yeah. Cause
obviously
I
was answering the last question. It just, everything's a halt right now for how it impacted us, literally. So.
Yeah, because for you, it's like on both sides. It's like both sides of basically all 3 of these sides that I brought up. You can't gig, you can't do DJ gigs, you can't open the restaurants, and there's no parties. So it's kind of just been kind of a triple threat for you, unfortunately. Gotcha.
Exactly. I mean, there's more time. Me and Patrick are wrapping up our EP, which is great. We have all the time in the world to just work on music right now, but everything else is complete halt. So.
You guys have anything scheduled to go out or during this time, like maybe before the end of the month or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a track coming out in 2 weeks with Brad Varsity.
Gotcha.
And then our first single off of our EP should be, a couple of weeks right after. It's going to be a great track. So it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
proud of it. I'm going to send it over to you so you can get a sneak peek.
for sure. Would love to hear it.
Yeah.
Cool. David, how about you?
Yeah, so, obviously, like everybody else, I'm feeling the impact. I'm in a little bit different situation. So I live in the northern suburbs of Chicago, and I'm pretty fortunate that my office is only about 1.5 miles from my house. So most days, I'm in the office. Certainly at the beginning of this, I was going into the office, and pretty much when Governor Pritzker put the state on lockdown, I wasn't going into the office anymore. I'm one of those work at home people you see on TV. I'm like one of those people you see on TV, and I got 3 kids in the house. I got 2 dogs. My wife, her office is locked down. She's an attorney, works in downtown Chicago. Nobody's going down there. And even with my office out here, I split my time. I'm downtown 1 day a week, and so I'm not getting downtown. Obviously, nothing's going on down there. Other than that, I'm working. Fortunately, the house is pretty quiet, even with everything else going on. So it's been busy here. My day, I've got a pretty structured day to begin with, just between shuttling kids and spouse and managing my own law practice. So once this all happened, we've tried to keep the semblance of our regular routine. My wife and I both show up for work, 9 a.m. We've got calls, we've got clients trying to reach us. So we try and keep that going. And the pandemic has definitely impacted the legal services industry and what I do, but I think in a different way than it's impacted a lot of other people. My phone is ringing off the hook. My email's blowing up with, what do I do? All my entertainment clients, all my clients who are in the, event industry, and I, represent a wide range of businesses that not only are artists and talent themselves, but sort of the supporting casts, right? All the people behind the scenes who are doing the production, who are doing the staging, who are doing all the other pieces of live events, or even produced events. They're all kind of scratching their head and wondering, am I going to have a job in a couple of weeks, or what am I going to do now? So I'm getting that question a lot.
Is the answer you're giving them pretty much the same across all of them, or does it differ? What are you telling them?
Well, it really depends on the situation. So I had one client who had just entered into a new lease that's supposed to start next week, and is like not next week, next week now, but a new 3-year lease. And so her situation was a little bit different than some of my other clients who may be not looking specifically at that question. But here's my thing, right? I've been practicing for 22 years. I remember where I was and what I was doing when 9/11 happened. And I've sort of lived through some of these major events, and that's not to say that what we're going through right now is exactly the same. But when you live through some of these major events, you realize that there's a beginning, a middle, and the end, and that you're going to come out the other side. So, mostly what I'm telling my clients is try and stay positive, try and stay active, know that we're going to get through this, and just do everything you can to kind of, survive, tread water, for artistic talent, actually really for any of my clients, most of whom are in service business, use this time to reconnect, use this time to, take a look at what you're doing, what's working, what's not working, what are you going to improve on when business picks back up again? Because I guarantee you, we're going to come out the other side of this. Things are going to go on. Events are going to get rescheduled. People are going to get back to work. I have no idea what that timeline looks like, and I wouldn't even presume to make a guess. But what I will tell you is it will be over eventually, and the stronger ones will survive, and you'll come out even better. So, I may be overly optimistic. I'm fortunate, but I'm trying to get people to look at sort of the long horizon.
For sure. No, that's great. Paul, I'm not sure what the answer will be here. It may be that it's really nothing happening, but how are event businesses, when you look at Promo 7, how are they handling these closures? Or is there anything behind the scenes that you're getting ready for when things do pick back up? Any kind of like live stream, weird things that you got in the works?
We've been live streaming a little bit already, and people are just joining, but we're just doing it for fun, try to keep people sane. A lot of people are using that Facebook group Messenger to, basically pretty much party. Like 3 days ago, I wasn't involved, but everybody had a hangover the next day like they were out. For the closures, even when we reopen, we're not sure what, Lightfoot is going to do regarding to capacity issues and stuff like that. It could be, I'm not sure if you remember the last Sunday, before the social distancing started, they had capacity to 100 people. So, every venue you walked into was completely empty, and there was cops, enforcing it at every venue. So I'm not sure if it's gonna, when they lift, the social distancing or whatever you want to call it, the ban, or the ban, I guess. I'm not sure if they're going to go to a 250 capacity, regular capacity, or 100. So we're just, I'm meeting with different owners and different GMs and just trying to go over, what the game plan will be. So just trying to prepare for different scenarios on what they're going to do. So. Right.
Have you been, is the restaurants you're involved with doing any kind of pickup? I see some of them doing that.
We did just for our staff. Most of our restaurants are booze heavy. So we tried doing some packages for that and, gift cards and stuff like that for either, clients or patrons to support and buy and help the staff. And then we'll match and things of that nature. But, nothing to write home about. Gotcha. We try.
So the gift cards are a viable option for people who are like looking to support. I know there's plenty of people that are, getting paid during this time and they want ways to help local businesses. Gift cards is a good way to do that.
Of course. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So you can buy it now, help us out and, party and eat later.
For sure. Cool. So David, what kind of support is available now? I guess when you look at that, like unemployment, this bill that's coming out, is there anything that anybody can actively do to kind of prepare or even apply for some of these pieces of support?
Yeah, I think there is. I think there are a number of things that are available to people. I think your situation will dictate what's available to you for the gig economy, for people who are part-timing at a restaurant or bar and part-timing to launch their music career. Go get any kind of unemployment insurance you can, right? The restrictions have been relaxed. I know in Illinois, they're really encouraging people to seek it. The sort of the traditional burden associated with obtaining it has been reduced. I don't have specifics, but go get those unemployment benefits. Some of my clients are small businesses. They're looking at some of these no interest loans or grant type loans that might be available that I've heard some discussion about. I don't know, what's coming from the federal government in terms of this $2 trillion, stimulus package. But I think if you are interested in trying to apply for some of these resources, absolutely go for it. I think now's the time that, my belief is any of that money that you can get and sort of pump back into the economy will help get this thing going again. And again, in terms of how we can help people, I know locally we're doing a lot of my neighbors are, trying to patronize our local businesses and things like that. We're doing the takeout, we're doing the carry out. And I know it's not the same thing as being able to turn the tables, 3-4 times a night and get in, packed capacity. I get that, the takeout business is not going to cover the rent this month, but look at what's available in terms of financial resources. Another, I don't know what kind of other questions you might have later in the discussion, but one of the calls I'm getting is just about either breaking leases or breaking contracts, and kind of this whole concept around force majeure, and or if not breaking, kind of like hitting the pause button on some of these obligations. So it's an interesting time, I think, because of the government action in terms of enforcing the distancing, social distancing, in terms of enforcing people staying at home, keeping venues closed. That's one of these events that's completely unforeseen, out of somebody's control. So it really makes what we're going through unusual. And I think because of that, people are taking a different look at just how things function.
In regards to the contracts, I'm assuming here that these contracts can, like, let's say there's something for in 3 months, people can break those due to when we're looking at live events, like if a live event is booked, they're looking at the act of God clause. Is that correct? They're able to kind of cancel those contracts because of that, because of these closures?
Well, I can't say, there's a clear answer on that. There's a lot of different factors that affect that. Number one is, was there a contract between the participants in the event? Because if there was a contract, that's the first place you're going to look. If there was a contract, was there a force majeure provision, or was there a similar act of God provision? And what does that say? How do you invoke it? What does it cover? What does it not cover? And then, the other question is this an act of God, right? How do you define that? And, so I think there's a lot of questions. I know that the topic is getting very heavy consideration. A lot of lawyers are looking at it. A lot of lawyers are pontificating about it. But I don't think that there's necessarily a bright line yes or no answer on that.
Okay, cool. And yeah, anybody who's watching too, if you want to go ahead and throw questions in there, I'd love to leave a lot of time just for one-on-one Q&As. I can bring you into the chat if you want to do video, but go ahead and add those questions or raise your hand as we continue. Okay, cool. What kind of predictions do we have for what this shift is really going to do, to the event business? And I think I feel like restaurants, might go back to somewhat normal, but like specifically the live events, the parties, things like that. Do you have any predictions, Paul?
I think it's going to be a mix of two people. There's going to be person A that, as soon as this is ready to go, is going to be, balls to the wall, full out, going out every night, partying, spending money, as long as the economy doesn't fall too much further. And I think there's going to be the person that, still stays away from everybody, maybe goes to, restaurants and has a quiet night out. I think it's going to either be A or B, a mix of A and B. Sorry.
Very good.
I don't think there's going to be anything in the middle. It's not going to be, hey, let's go out one night a week and party. I think it's going to be, full on, and then, maybe family dinners or a couple that just wants to go to restaurants for the first couple months. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think the same as you said at the beginning. The first 7 days kind of felt like a vacation. I feel like people are it's just gonna be like a burst of energy for everybody, and then it's gonna kind of die down and be like, wait, should we be doing this? Should we maybe social distance a little bit? So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Exactly.
And we also talked in one of our other chats about when you're looking at, routing a tour or booking a venue, even for DJs, like I feel like it's just going to be there's going to be so many holds on so many venues that it might be hard to get a show booked because everybody's kind of wanting to jump on it all at once. I know major label artists are already getting like 3 holds on every, like a whole weekend just to kind of wait even for next year. So you expect anything like that to happen maybe in the venues?
I think for sure. I don't know how they're going to handle it with are they going to let DJ so and so play, or are they going to just move everybody back so the person in March can play earlier, or they just probably reschedule? I don't know, because we don't know the timeline. A lot of people are saying they want to have this done by Easter. I think not a chance. I just think that's too soon. It could be all the way until July. So
Right.
it just depends on really when this social ban is lifted, social distancing.
Yeah.
So
How about you, David? Any interesting predictions on how this is going to kind of affect, even like what you said, leases and contracts?
Right. Well, I think, I can't speak to a specific experience inside hospitality, whether as a restaurant owner or venue owner. I do think that there will be a fair amount of pent-up demand, right? And I think the longer this goes, the more that sort of builds. Again, if you kind of look at where we are going into this thing, I think things are really good. Economies are good. People were mostly employed. So, things were relatively strong. This has caused a crazy hiccup, but it's not an economic situation that's driven by economic factors necessarily. I mean, the economic factors are sort of the byproduct of social political things going on, right? So I think that markets will return. I think businesses will return. I think you will see, and any business that was on the margin, right? Any business that was just not either doing well or just hanging on is unlikely to survive this. That's my opinion. In terms of the timing, who knows? In terms of the business side of things, I will certainly be reiterating to clients, look at your contracts, look at your exit provisions. Think about insurance. I try and talk to my clients about insurance all the time. I'm not saying that that's necessarily, the total solution here, but there's other things that you can do from a business standpoint to sort of balance risk, mitigate risk. Now we've all kind of been through this and kind of gotten a sense of what happens when they pull the rug out from under you. Hopefully people will go forward a little better perspective, myself included.
Right. And in regards to this emergency, this $2 trillion emergency bill, is there anything that we know for sure that we can kind of talk about, and how one would obtain this and who's qualified, anything like that? Any info on the bill?
The only thing I know is what I've heard on CNN, right? So I think I know that there are some income caps, right? So if you make over $99,000 a year as an individual, I think it's $149 as a family, or a spouse filing jointly. So there's cutoffs for that in terms of what people are getting. I suspect most people in the gig economy, most artists who are up and comers, people who don't have very successful and established careers, are probably going to be eligible. And again, I'm going on what I heard on television. My understanding is there's also some loans, a lot of loan facilities, a lot of credit being made available to small, medium, and large businesses. So I think you look at state resources. I'm pretty sure that the city of Chicago is putting money aside for small businesses. The state of Illinois is putting money aside. The federal government's putting money aside. So as these details become available, look at what you need to do to apply. And I suspect because of the urgency, the process is going to be streamlined a little bit.
This might be out there, but since it looks like there are, you said no interest loans and some low interest loans specifically for small businesses. Let's say an artist is kind of getting hurt by this in multiple directions, and they might have a business plan lying around. Of course, I'm asking you to speak broadly on this. Do you think that might be something to consider maybe doing if business loans are like at an all-time low in terms of interest right now, to maybe present that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think challenges create opportunities, right? I think coming outside of it, there will be some new opportunities. The fact that cash or capital to start a business might be more readily available, if that's what it takes to kind of get you off your ass and start your business. I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs. What I've found is the successful entrepreneurs don't need the extra incentive. They are their own incentive. They are their own task masters. So, I think that quality is probably more important than cheap capital. But if there's other factors at play, right? If you've been doing one thing for a while and you've really been waiting for a sign to try this other thing, then maybe now's that time.
Do you assist with, I guess, tying a bow on some business plans, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with businesses in all stages of development, various sizes, everything from, a small single person out of the basement business up to Fortune 500 companies. I'm happy to help clients sort of strategize, take a look at, what their business model is, what their revenue model is, how are they going to make money, how are they going to stay in business, what need are they satisfying in the marketplace, and as well as sort of the legal tasks, and making sure that the business is set up properly and is run properly, and you know what you need to do as a business or as a business owner. So yeah, I can help with all facets of that.
Okay, great. So as far as, I guess, solutions and actionable tasks that the viewers can do right now, because a lot of what we're talking about is we're kind of waiting on the government for something, to make something happen, open some things, the bill to be passed, what have you. But some actionable things right now, it looks like, to support local businesses. If you are in a position to do that, buy gift cards, do their pickup option. Any kind of, some places have like funds for their hostesses and things like that. Definitely look into applying for unemployment, to see if that's a viable option for you, because a lot of their standards, you said, have been lowered, and it's a little easier to apply now because of this. And keep an eye out on, basically, to figure out where this bill is going and to get a better idea. I'll share later, after this replay is shared. There's a Wall Street Journal article that kind of goes into a little more detail on like exactly who is eligible for different things. The music industry, they even say like movie theater industry, things like that. But just keeping an eye on where that bill is at and when people can apply to get that support. But as of right now, it looks like we're kind of just in a waiting game for all across the board.
Yeah,
cool.
I'd like to just kind of speak to what can people be doing now. If you're not working, right, if you find yourself with a little extra time on your hands, you should have a to-do list. Right? And this can be anything. I'm not saying what should or shouldn't be on your to-do list, but things that I'm looking at doing, certainly, looking at my marketing, right? What am I doing on my marketing? What am I doing in terms of writing, research, some of the other maybe non-billable parts of my business? I think for artists, now is a great time to take a look at, where do you want to be at the end of this year? What can you do now to start planning for what's coming up? Do you have projects that are, only partially completed? Do you have people that you need to reach out to and connect with? I think right now is a good time to start looking at sort of all those other parts of the business that, maybe you just don't have time for during, when things are firing on all cylinders, or even doing those things that, you really aren't interested in doing. I know that everybody is sitting here wondering what's coming next. And I know a lot of people are looking for connections, looking for opportunities. And, one of the beautiful things about the music industry is just the way people collaborate and the way creative, the way things just come about because people got together and wanted to work together and created something wonderful. So, don't sit back and wait, I guess is what I'm saying. Get out there, be active, look at what you can do to move yourself forward.
Yeah, yeah, Paul. Maybe this is the birth of the digital happy hour. I've seen some people do that. I don't know how. I don't know how. I mean, that's the hard part. It's like we're in this industry where we thrive on one-on-one interactions, not through a camera. We need to go to live events. We want to make those connections. So it's interesting to kind of answer my own question here on the shift. I definitely think it's forcing people into this digital space that they were kind of on the fence with, whether that be live streaming your concert or doing digital happy hours. I know some businesses are doing like Zoom webinars, but it's bingo. So they kind of cash app in and they can drink and they would order the food, things like that. But it's like, is it the same? I mean, I can't imagine being at Bounce on a Friday night, like in that scenario. Like, I don't think it would be the same just partying with your phone in front of you. So it's like, I don't know how that's going to kind of adapt and change.
Yeah, I don't think, there's been stupider ideas. Who would have thought that, you would create a company that didn't own any cars, but would be the largest, taxi delivery fucking service in the world. So, so you never know. I've heard of, stupider ideas and they've all flourished and, became billion-dollar companies. So maybe, I have no idea. I mean, I'm looking outside right now. I'm going to show, actually, I don't even know how to flip the camera, but you can't even see outside my window. It's foggy. I have no idea what's going on in the world. It's freaking me out. I was playing, I'm sorry to sidetrack. I was playing Call of Duty and when the airplane comes to the TV, I'm looking through the window and I see an airplane coming at me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So, people are, losing their minds. So and I said this before, I think people should start getting back to work, the people that can. But, other people are against it. So, I own a couple Metro by T-Mobile stores where, by the government, we have to stay open because it's like a mandatory thing where I think like 90% of our clientele make their payments in store. So it's like, we're just adapting to it. So I'm trying to focus on that and instead of sitting at home and, looking out the window when it's really foggy or playing Call of Duty and FaceTiming, my friends. So just trying to stay busy. It's crazy. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great for your EP. It sounds like you have a lot more time to focus on that and get that going. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
For sure. Right now, we're just picking and choosing what we want to put on there. So
awesome. I think somebody wants to come in and ask a question. Great. I'm going to do it.
Hopefully, it's Patrick surprising us.
Nah, I don't think so.
Hey,
how's it going?
My name is Ilya. I'm actually a technologist and also a DJ of about 13, 14 years. I've been playing in clubs and also been producing music for a long time. As a technologist, I can tell you that the whole industry is now moving over to obviously Zoom and all this other things. With the advent of the situation, people are now being accustomed to using Twitch and YouTube and Facebook for streaming, and they really like it. I believe Insomniac and Mad Decent had an event last weekend, and they had almost 16,000 people. I think what's going on and what will be going on in the next half a year to a year, obviously with all the festivals and events canceled, people are going to be forced to use technology and computers to come in and check out their favorite artist and play in a way that they maybe would have been opposed to previously. These people that don't know how to use technology, obviously, maybe the 40 to 60-year-old and up range, just for work, are being forced to use Zoom, are being forced to learn how to use their cameras and talk to people and really assimilate into this new digital society that was already present, actually, but now they're being forced to do so even more so. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, is people are going to become accustomed to actually not going out and are going to find that you can check out your favorite DJs and you can have a party and you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to spend $1,000 on bottle service. And so artists are going to have to figure out ways how to use that and, kind of commercialize themselves in this new respect. I've been actually streaming for 10, or sorry, not 10, probably like 5 years, 5 to 7 years already. I have been using various different platforms. I tried YouTube, I tried Facebook. I've been mostly doing it on Facebook, but now I'm starting to use Twitch, and I'm finding that you can do back-to-back sets. In fact, I'm going to be streaming tonight on Twitch. I've already got a bunch of people looking forward to that. I've got a group called Music Hackers, which is encompassing technology and music together. And I've got a large collection of technologists, hackers, people that are in technology, producers, and musicians. And we all can't get together now. So I'm going to be having a regular Saturday back-to-back sessions where there's, it would be the equivalent of going to the club where somebody plays an hour-long set. And what is really cool is with Twitch, you can actually send all your followers to another stream via command. So you can actually have back-to-back sets all from around the world, kind of as if you would go to a club. So I think all these technologies and the situation is going to force people to relook this stuff and approach it completely differently. Those artists that are malleable, that are flexible, they're enterprising, figuring out how to, obviously make some money off of this, not just begging for, hey man, can you send me some money because of the situation? I didn't think it through. Or Patreon, hey man, can you just give me a couple bucks? Really providing value through technology like you guys are doing with this webinar, I think are really the ones that are going to come out on top. I've got a lot of fantastic artists that are making videos about their quarantine, making, they're actors, musicians, and they're making like comedic little clips about every day, about what's going on. Fantastic stuff, amazing stuff. Like I would happily support that. And what's beautiful is I don't have to go anywhere. I just push a button and I check them out. And that's what's really, really cool, And I think obviously the experience of being at a rave, the experience of being at a club with standing next to stacks that are 2 times the size of you is never going to be replaced. But I think people are going to see the true value of this. And I know a lot of musicians, they don't really have to change their lifestyles. We live a little bit of a secluded lifestyle already. But for most people, embracing this new lifestyle and experiencing music in a different way, and also musicians creating music in a way that people can experience it at home, is the way that's going to, the future forward, And I think this is actually a really good situation. Like you guys said, this is a very opportune situation. Because it forces those people that never use technology, never use webcams, never try to reach out via FaceTime. Now they're forced to. And so we have a captive audience now. This is amazing. Unfortunately, it is a grave situation, but in terms of being able to create and put out material, this is like the most amazing situation that has ever happened, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's, I think it all, like you said, it all comes down to it's opening that opportunity to show people that this is an option. But on the flip side, to play devil's advocate, you can't really replace that live experience. So I think it'll be a decline, but I still think, the people that still want to go to the clubs are still going to go to the clubs. And because, FaceTiming in, I just don't see how that'll be like exactly the same. But as you said, it's just showing the people that were kind of on the fence with it to say, hey, this is also another option. Let me try that instead of, spending money or whatever it might be. But cool, man. I appreciate you popping in here. Ilya was your name?
Yeah, Ilya. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah, thanks, Ilya. I kind of wanted to just defend the 40 to 60-year-old generation as I well within that
I saw your eye twitch right there when he said that.
Yeah, some of us know how to use technology. So, but I think Ilya's point is well taken. Here is an opportunity for artists to really reach a new audience, to use these digital tools. There are a lot of people who are coming online, and I'm sure they've had some exposure to it at some point, but this is the reality, right? We are virtual. We are meeting this way for the foreseeable future. Artists should take this time to leverage that, the connection. Evan, I just want to thank you tremendously. I think what you're doing and what you set up here is really wonderful. Your industry chats and the way you do this is so timely. And, I know we're doing this kind of like it's day 6 already, but my inbox has been flooded with sort of these types of events that are planned, 2 or 3 weeks out, which is a testament to just how soon you saw the opportunity to, provide value, provide support, provide information to, to your clients, to your network, to artists. So, I hope everybody who sees this appreciates just your foresight and your energy, in bringing this all together.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was grateful enough to have an amazing community of people like you guys that I could just text and be like, hey, do you want to be a part of this? I put it all together in like 2 or 3 days. As soon as I basically knew everybody's going to be at home and artists are freaking out. They've just been lost gigs. A lot of them, like I said, are servers, and they're like, wow, I have no work now. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to get us chatting and I knew this was an opportunity because nobody was doing anything else except playing Call of Duty, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cool, Ilya. I appreciate you popping in here.
Thank you.
Later, brother.
All right, cool. Well, that covered pretty much all the meat questions that I had. Is there anything you guys wanted to bring up? What you guys have going on, or anything else?
Patrick and I, just to any artist that isn't on Twitch, you should get on there. I forgot who it was. We're doing a collab with somebody, and they did a Twitch live stream, and like one of the higher up execs reached out and was like, hey, we don't have like a big DJ artist curators on Twitch, and they reached out and they wanted them to do like a weekly thing, and this was just off some kids in Ohio doing just a live stream with a couple DJs. So we're looking into that. We're gonna start doing some live sets on our balconies, and hopefully people tune in. Oh
yeah, that view I saw of that picture looked a lot better than a lot of the streams. I think it's cool that you kind of thought outside the box. You took advantage of your view. I mean, sometimes people just have like that really shitty like globe that has all the lights and like in the house. Exactly. I'm just like, this isn't fun. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm there. So
exactly.
So that's cool. Has he been on Twitch a lot, or is it you saying it's just now starting now?
Just starting now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. So. Yeah, I think I spoke with Leonard from Indie Band Coach, who's close with a lady who wrote a book called Twitch for Musicians, because it really is an untapped market when it comes to that. Because I think the hard part is with like full bands, like how are you gonna like make sure that the sound is good and like all the DIs and everything. But DJ, I feel like it's a little easier to just kind of plug and play and have a nice camera.
Yeah.
But what's cool about that is you don't have to just play music. It's just like a general streaming. So let's Call of Duty, for instance. You could just be live streaming for 8 hours. You could he could play a set for a little bit, and then you guys could play Call of Duty and like maybe play your music on top of it or something.
Exactly.
Some people like power lift because they're into that.
It's limitless.
Also, yeah, exactly. So I've seen a lot of cool streams. They're a little weird because sometimes they just look like webcams in people's houses. I'm like, should we be watching this? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, cool. Yeah. So Twitch, everybody check that out. Oh yeah, Ilya.
I mean, and TikTok, obviously, I'm addicted to TikTok. So if you're not on there, you need to be on there. I mean, you can get thousands of views and thousands of followers in a matter of a couple of weeks. It's crazy. So I've never seen anything like it. Where like Facebook, you have to build up your Facebook page, and then Instagram, you have to build up your Instagram page. This, you just put content out there, and it just, it reminds me of Vine. I used to love Vine. And, it's crazy. And you can be, the other day, I was watching Gary Vee, and he was talking about somebody that, started a fucking ant farm, and all he does is record his ant farms. And he has like over 100,000 followers in like 2 weeks. And Gary's like, yeah, we're going to turn this into a fucking business, and fuck yeah. And I'm just like, this is nuts. Literally 100,000 followers just watching ants. So, I mean.
That's wild. Now I kind of want to look that up.
Yeah, it's freaking nuts. So.
David, are you on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok, but I just might give it a try. I could be like the rapping lawyer or something. I don't know.
You could. Honestly, if you just, specifically for, real estate or lawyers, or just give people information, and people, just start liking it and start commenting. So especially, with all this going on, and anything that we talked about right now, if you're just making little 15-second segment videos, people, I'm telling you, will definitely comment and like it, and you'll get a big following.
Yeah, I think the stigma, just to kind of stick on TikTok real quick, because I really haven't talked about that platform in these chats much. Everybody thinks that it's just for kids doing dancing videos, and like you said, that's just completely not true. You don't have to necessarily post humorous videos either. Like you said, I've seen like Gary Vee posts just clips of him talking. So there's business people on there giving advice, and you just have to kind of hack the TikTok culture and be able to edit the videos like everybody else is kind of doing,
Exactly.
with your own spin. And I talked a little bit about this earlier this week, but let's say you're a musician or you're an artist and you don't necessarily want to create your own page, which I think that you should, but there's two sides of TikTok. There's the content creator side, and then you can have your music on there too, and try to people try to get big off of TikTok by having content creators put their song over their video. So you don't necessarily have to have a profile to get your songs on there, and to maybe reach out to influencers as well, but it's not going to hurt to have both.
Exactly. We have a couple songs on there that people are just like lip syncing to. It's freaking hilarious, because I had no idea, and I just, I randomly just put in our name, and it's so funny to watch some of the videos. So these guys are lip singing to my music.
Right. Yeah, I think I've seen the remix of all these pretty girls on there. A couple ones.
Evan, quick question.
Yeah.
So I got a Q&A, and I don't know if this came up on your screen too, but it's probably something we should bring into the chat here.
All right, let's see. Yeah, I see it here.
Oh, I see it up here.
Yeah, so this is a question about business structure, and I think looks like it's fairly complicated. So I'd probably need a little bit more information, and would probably need to noodle on it for a little bit. But what I can say is that it sounds like you're doing everything right, and you're thinking about the right things in terms of being registered with ASCAP as writers and publishers, having an LLC set up. The LLC is really there to protect the owners, shield them from liability. People think you need to have a business entity to make money, right, or to pay taxes. You don't. So. But it is, if you're in business, having a business entity, it's a great place to start. And in fact, it'll probably give you a lot of flexibility in terms of how you want to structure those income streams as well. So, it's a great question, but I think it's a little bit more complicated than I can answer right now.
Sure. Okay.
Are you there?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Did you have any follow-up questions? Thanks for popping in here.
Yeah, do you think that kind of question is something that does it have deeper implications that would affect us, for years to come, that I need to have legal consulting about that, or can we just make a decision and go with one or the other?
I think it doesn't make it doesn't hurt to spend an hour, half hour to an hour, with a lawyer to kind of talk through what these different things mean, right, and what those implications are. I think that it could come out a couple of different ways, right? It's not necessarily right way, wrong way. There might be other issues that you are trying to address by structuring it, and I think it's just a matter of having a conversation and kind of seeing where that conversation goes. And then at the end of that,
sure,
having a sense, okay, well, this is what I want it to look like. How do I get there?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your name? Sorry.
It's Christina Eltravogue.
Oh, Christina. So I do this with my partner. He's not my life partner. Well, he's kind of my life partner, Patrick. So we actually, oh, he's FaceTiming right now. Decline. We actually just run everything through the LLC. And then, we're both partners on the LLC, and we do the splits that way. So there's no really wrong answer. You could do it separately, which I've done in the past. But for this project, we do it straight to the LLC.
And is the LLC, is the publishing like attached to one of your personal writing accounts?
It is, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, for the sheer simplicity's sake of just like not having to list multiple things, like that's like my only main reason. and also just like being able to be like, okay, for this recording project, we did this all through our LLC, and the money is going to go there and we'll split it up. Like it seems more simple, but I'm just like, is that going to be more complicated?
What's the name of your group?
What's that?
What's the name of your group?
We're called MMC. We're called MMCM. It's our initials.
Can you? I didn't get that. Can you type that out? Or if anybody else got that, type that out.
Yeah.
No, but it sounded really cool the way it was.
Exactly. It was like a
delayed over
robot,
the audio,
delayed. Yeah.
like that'd be a great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for helping me think through this.
Absolutely.
I just put it in an answer because that was what seemed to make sense.
I'm gonna look you guys up and follow and support you guys. So dope.
Aww, thank you.
That's cool too.
Yeah, we're very much noobs when it comes to all this, and our release show was supposed to be at the Hideout in Chicago last night, and that obviously didn't happen. And so we're sort of also thankful though, because we're totally hustling to try to get everything done in time, and so now we can be a little more mindful about the release and everything. So that's good.
Yeah, I think yesterday you said that you're still waiting for artwork. Is that right? Something like that?
Yeah. I mean, and we had sort of our idea of what we wanted, but it was sort of like one of those things where you just have to make like a really quick judgment call. And we were like, why don't we actually, think this through of like, is this what we want to go for? And not to mention like a lot of how we were going to pay for a lot of the things was going to be through gigs that happen this month and next month and different things. So that was another factor, was like, we didn't just want to jump into, racking up credit or something.
Christina, what do you do for a living?
Music. So we gig, we perform. We also, we track things for other people from our home or do sessions with our studio.
Okay. Do you have Evan's contact info?
No.
Okay. If you leave your email, I'll shoot you an email. I'll do the design work for you.
Really?
That's very generous of you.
Yeah. I have a couple designers on staff, so I can get them to create something for you.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Yeah. That was like one of the missing components, because I'm like, okay, I was in yearbook club in high school, but I want something a little more vibey than that,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
just
what I was
list your
talking about. I'm sorry, Paul, don't mean to cut you off. This is what I was talking about earlier. You just get some musicians in the room and they start gigging.
Exactly.
Just list your email over there too, Christina, and I'll shoot you an email after this.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, if you've been getting the emails about this this stream, at the bottom has my phone number and Instagram and all that stuff, Christina.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. Well, this is great. Thanks for popping in here again. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this.
No problem. I've got Dalton over here with a raised hand. Probably take one more question.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let me see now. Hey, Dalton.
About that. How's it going?
What's It's okay. You're a little
Are you working now?
you're a little glitchy on our end.
A little choppy. Yeah, sorry. I got a Chromebook here. My old Windows machine. I had a chance to upgrade it. Is that any better? Hello, hello.
Yeah, it's
It's a little better. Yeah,
1, 2, 3.
Cool.
that's good.
How are you? You want to
Hey
go ahead and
there.
restate your question on audio if you
Hello
could?
to Evan. Yep. Our question is, one concern as a booking agent in northern Colorado is when the bars, the tap rooms, and brewing companies do reopen, our concern is they may not have the financial resources to pay for music. So a lot of bands that we work with over 100 Colorado bands. You know, that's been the main concern they're voicing is, hey, so a restaurant reopens May 1st or June 1st, but they may not have the financial resources to pay for music. They need to pay for rent, outstanding bills, and health insurance and payroll.
That's unfortunately not in our hands. That's with the grants and the loans that the government will be supplying us.
Right.
I'm in the same boat right now. I own multiple venues in Chicago, partnered in a couple restaurants, and it's the same across the board. And the unfortunate thing with the timely matter of this is that this didn't happen in January and February, our slowest months. This happened right when we're actually supposed to start making money.
Right.
We've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars for the Final Four tournament. Just buyout from companies. 50 grand here, 75 grand there. I mean, you're talking about big numbers. That it's not in a sense where we're trying to. I'm sounding greedy or anything, but this is to get us out of the January and February hole, because January and February literally put you in a hole. So even if you do, $500,000 between St. Patrick's Day and the Final Four tournament, you're just climbing out of the hole, so you can, run your business, in spring, summer, and winter. So that's the unfortunate, that the timely, it happened at literally the worst time. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, that was our big concern in northern Colorado and maybe even Denver and Colorado Springs as well as, so our reopens. Well, are they going to be able to pay the musicians or not? And I think that's that kind of burning question today for a lot of musicians where we are, Longmont, Loveland, Fort Collins area.
I think
appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening.
I think as a bar owner, if the bar next to you has a band, you're gonna have to have a band. So if same thing to go with DJs and any type of musician or comedy bars. You have to have that live aspect, because it's different than just having a jukebox. It's, unless you're talking about straight dive bar, but if you're a live music venue, you have to have live music. Or if you're a nightclub, you have to have a DJ. And you have to do the performances, because if you don't pay for, if you don't, the spot I own, Joy District, if we don't have an artist, G-Eazy's going to be at Tao, and we know that, it's going to be hard to go against that. So you have to do what, your competitors are doing. So.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Dalton. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Evan.
All right, cool. Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the relationship you have with that certain venue, things like that, because there's going to be a lot of people in line asking them questions. So just building that relationship as much as you can is kind of the name of the game.
Of course, yeah.
Well, cool. If there's no more questions, I'll just go ahead and wrap up. This has been a great chat. I will share this replay for our Artist Collective members. If you're not a member, join for free, 30 days for free. Check it out. You can rewatch all 7 of these days. We've got resources and links, so you can contact any of the panelists. You can ask more questions, and we have resources there available for you that we couldn't link out here per se. I'll also be doing clips on our new podcast, which is Music Industry Chat Podcast. You can find that on anywhere that can be listen to on a podcast. iTunes is coming. Anchor.fm/industry chat. If you want to check that out, if you're kind of on the go, well, you're not right now, but when you become on the go, check out that podcast. And just a little teaser on the last day, day 7. I'm just entitling it "What's Next." I have 2 awesome panelists with 2 different companies. One company is called Loom Music, which is a new streaming, it's not new necessarily anymore, but it's a new kind of streaming service for artists. It's really, really cool. And a lot of artists on this platform are really thriving. How it works is you upload your music and fans can basically give you currency. I believe they call it, I think it's tunes or something like that, some kind of currency, and then you can then cash out all of your currency at the end. So it's really about building those fan connections, those super fans I'm always talking about. And the second person is the CEO of a text message marketing service that I use called Blossom.im. I've used it for maybe 2 weeks now, and it's pretty much changed my entire business and how I interact with my fans and potential clients. So he's going to kind of talk about how that can help moving forward, because the main thing with all these chats is come down to fan connection, whether it be, fans, that love to come to your restaurant, or fans of your music. It really comes down to how deep those connections are if you can kind of make it through this storm. So that's what the last day is about the future. So, but I want to thank these 2 gentlemen for popping in here, answering some questions. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your knowledge.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Evan. Really appreciate being here.
No
Of course,
problem.
thank you.
Cool. I'll see you guys soon. See you, everybody.
All right, brother. Later.
Okay, take care.